Today we're going to cover a feature in Remedyforce called Map User Inputs to Template Fields. It's found in the Fulfillment button of a request definition. And this specific request definition is called Visit Type or Modifier. If I come over to General Information, we'll see that this is already configured and that there is a service request template here called Visit Type or Modifier SR. If I come back to Fulfillment, notice that that's what's selected, Visit Type or Modifier SR. There's a few others in here. These are the templates that are available. The template that we'll be using is the service request template there. And we'll get into that in a second. I'm going to scroll down and we're going to look at the Select User Input for Prompt Question just to make sure we know where we are. Contact name all the way down to urgency of request. These are the fields that are available to the end user when the end user selects this specific service request, this visit type or modifier. So remember, contact name all the way down to urgency of request. I'm now going to open up the service request in self-service. This is it, contact name all the way down to urgency of request. So I'm going to fill this out just with some dummy data. I'm just going to write test all the way down. Test, test, test. Some it makes us choose. Some are dates. About the rest I'll just put test in there. When it comes to urgency of request, it actually gives me a pick list. Critical, high, low, and medium. I'll pick low here and submit it. And that gave us service request 89, so remember that as well. I'm going to come back to administration and cover a little more about what we just did. So we actually filled out all these questions, and if we come back to the input field, these are the same questions again. Urgency of request is a lookup field. I clicked it and it reloaded just to show that. So it's a lookup field here, and it's pulling its data from the urgency object out in Salesforce. There's no lookup filter, so it's going to show all the records. We've given it a name called urgency of request, and we've given it a tooltip, and this tooltip is here to show the difference. We'll get to that in a second as well. But I've actually made this field. This is a brand new field that I created, and it exists only on this visit type or modifier form. This is the only place that it exists. It doesn't actually exist out in the incident/service request object where the data actually is stored. It's its own field. But I'm pulling in data from urgency, and I want it to act like the urgency field, as in if I put data in here in this urgency of request field, I actually want it to get into the urgency field on incident so I can do something with it. I want to actually set the urgency of this particular ticket so I can do something with it. I want my SLAs to fire off, for example. So how do you actually do that? And I want to point something else out just to drive this point home of this field does not exist anywhere except this form. So this is the field urgency of request that I've created. I'm going to go out to the incident object at create and edit objects. I selected incident. Now if I go to custom fields and relationships, if I scroll down to urgency, this is the actual field urgency that we're using. This is the field. It's a different name. I'm going to click on it. It has a different tooltip here from the list of options. It is a lookup field, but it's a different field. This is the field name here. It's completely different than the field that we created right here. They almost have nothing to do with each other, besides the fact that we want them to react and act in the same way. That's as far as they'll go. So in order to make those fields actually linked, we need to do something, and that is this map user inputs to template fields. I'm actually going to show one more piece of this to kind of to finally drive this home. We made that brand new service request, number 89. Let's look at it. In the urgency field, I put low. So here it is, urgency low. And if I hover over it, it gives us the tooltip from the true urgency field from the list of options, comma, select. I'll come back there. from the list of options, comma, select. That's this field. This is the urgency field. If I scroll down to the bottom, where in Remedyforce it shows us our actual fields, so below this, service request details, and then the name of our service request, below this, these are all the fields that we've populated. Contact name all the way down to urgency of request. I hover over this field, different tooltip, different field. These are completely different fields, but I want them to react the same way. And as you saw, I did get that to happen. I didn't put anything in urgency. I did something, I mapped those fields. So I put the value in here, but this is where I want the actual fields to show up, right? Or this is where I want the data to show up, right here. So to do that, you use the map user inputs to template fields. I select the template here. I scroll down and I find the field that I want, urgency of request. Whatever data I put in this field, I want to push that to the urgency field here. Select those two, click map input to field, and save.